I'm a music teacher and composer, and I have never heard this music from Sonic 2 before in my life. So join me live as we uncover hidden connections, understand how music works, and we're gonna have some fun along the way. Let's jump in and get started straight away with Title. Okay, now I'm actually reminded of a OST we just listened to yesterday, which was Sonic 1. And we heard literally same exact chords, same exact key as the title that we heard for Sonic 1. We're in the key of A major. A major, if you know what I'm talking about. You're going, what do you mean if you know? It's just A major. Okay, so we have 1 flat 7, 1 different inversion of 1, or voicing of 1 flat 7, 1 flat 7, then 1. There's like flat 7, 7, 1, if I recall correctly, and you might, well, you just heard that 2 seconds ago. You don't remember it? No. And then we had 7, and then back to 1. So it's a little chromatic ascending thing right here. I'm saying, what does chromatic mean? Well, chromatic comes from the Greek word chroma, C-H-R-O-M-A, that's called making lemons when you got lemonade, or making oranges when you've got pandas. So you've got chroma. Chroma means color. So when we do chromatic, that's all the colors. That's all the colors ascending in order, aka all the notes in order. Up we go. All right, let's keep it cooking with this next one. Interesting chord progression. Okay, so let's talk about this Emerald Hill Zone. We've got a very interesting chord progression. I think I can honestly say this is the first time I've ever heard this sequence of chords in my life. We have a 1 chord in the key of C major that goes to a, you could call it a major 2, or a 5 of 5, to a flat 7, to a 6 minor. What? I never heard that chord progression before in my life, which is really interesting. So we have 2 borrowed chords. Well, here we call this a secondary dominant. And then here we've got the borrowed from the parallel minor, C minor flat 7 in there. Also just interesting movement overall. So we have tonic area here. Then we go to, I mean, you could call it, yeah, secondary dominant, but I'm going to treat this as like dominant area. Then we have a subtonic area here. The flat 7 is the subtonic, scale degree flat 7. Being the subtonic, and then the 6 minor, which I would call tonic again. Really interesting chord progression. That is super fascinating. All right, let's keep it cooking with this next one, which is gonna be Boss. Okay. And we're getting the loop there. So another really interesting piece of music here, actually color-coded for your color entertainingness. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then that's like the intro section, or we can call it the A, and then it goes to 1, to flat 7, to 1, to flat 7, to 5, to 1. Now, and I just played the major one there. So don't pay attention to that. Listen to the words I'm saying, not the chords I'm playing. Wacha. Now, something cool about this is the A minor, we can actually see this connection back to Sonic 1. This is a Sonic 1 connection. Why? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, it's in the key of A minor. That is a Sonic 1 connection. We're going to color that blue for Sonic. Yes. Our favorite blue hedgehog. Yes. And then we have not only the key of A minor, but also we've got the 1s, the flat 7s, and the 1s. Now, obviously, in the first one, we heard a lot more of these sort of 1, flat 7, flat 6 type of stuff going on. But still, we have the 1, and we still have the flat 7 here in this piece of music called a Boss. All right, let's check out this next one, which was going to be Chemical Plant Zone. Oh, I've heard this before. This is sick. So good. Oh, so good. Dude, I didn't even want to break that one down. That was just so enjoyable. It was just so good. I think we might have heard that in another Sonic OST, perhaps. Because I really remember that piece of music. That is like baked into my brain. That is so good. I mean, okay, so let's understand what's going on here. So much like, let's say, Mario Kart 64, there's a lot of groove going on here. So it's all like that. Now, obviously, it didn't sound like I was playing all those instruments at the same time. I was just playing a facsimile, if you will, on the guitar, and perhaps not the most accurate one, but directionally correct. And what you'll notice is that even though even the melody kind of syncs up with the groove. And so we can really think about this as being a groove-driven piece of music. And then, yeah, it goes a down, 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 down. Let's get a little down, 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 down. absolutely delightful there. Using the pentatonic scale. What's the pentatonic scale, you ask? Well, penta. Pent means repent. No, just kidding. So pent is 5. So like a pentagon, for example, like a building that has 5 sides. There you go. Okay, now, or home base, if you're playing baseball, which is what that actually looks like. And if you're not American, you don't know what baseball is, look it up. It is an interesting sport, just for your, anyway. Okay, so penta, 5. So the notes here of the pentatonic scale, now you can have many different types of pentatonic scales, and you can also technically call a pentachord any type of group of 5 notes together a pentatonic scale if you play them up and down, and they're in ascending or descending order. But in this case, the pentatonic scale we're looking at is in the key of F sharp minor. So we got an F sharp, then we got an A, then we got a B, then we got a C sharp, and then we got an E. So we've got a 1, we got a flat 3, we got a 4, we got a 5, and then we got a flat 7. That there is the scale to be using. All right, let's keep this rocking and rolling with this next one, which is going to be Aquatic Ruin Zone. Whoa! Oh my. All right, it's looping, so I'm gonna talk through it now. This is absolutely insane. So at first we have this 1 to 5 business, which by the way, we also heard back in the boss theme. We had a 1 to 5 to start us off here, but now we're not in the key of A minor anymore. No, indeed, we're actually in the key of D minor here. So we've got 1 minor, and then we hit this little 5 right at the end before we turn it back around. And that's going to be our introductory section. And then we have the A. So the A is... So it sounds like a 4-5-1 to the major, which by the way, if you're going, hey, didn't we hear something like that in Sonic 1? Yes, we absolutely did. Where the first time through, it sounded like we were going to the relative major instead of the relative minor. And here, it's the same exact thing. So we have what I'm going to call a flat 6 to a flat 7 to a flat 3, but this right here is very much a 4-5-1 subdominant dominant tonic movement. And then it goes and then it goes to major. Yeah. Ooh, a little fake out there. And then we have a 2 to 5 to 1 major. That right there, major fake out territory. Major fake, I'll make this a little bit larger, you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, major fake out territory here. So what do we have? We have a 2-5-1 going to the parallel major here, excuse me, not parallel, the relative major here, and then we have a 2-5-1 going to what we think is going to be the 1 chord, and indeed is the 1 chord, but it's a 1 chord of a different color. It's not a 1 minor chord, it's a 1 major chord. This right here, by the way, this is, steal this, by the way, you can steal any of these, if you want to compose your own music, steal any and all of these chord progressions for yourself, because it's not technically stealing, because chord progressions are not protected by copyright law. Ooh, which means you can go ahead and take these same ideas of 1 to 5 for your intro, and then you could go like, you could literally do all of this for your piece of music. Just write a different melody. That's all you gotta do. And by the way, if you want help writing your own melodies, and you're a gamer, you wanna compose your own music, there's a video game music composer starter pack that's in the video description. Go grab that. And if you're really serious about taking your music to the next level, on the page after you grab that, it's going to email to you. And then on the next page, there's going to be a calendar. And if you're really serious about taking your music to the next level, book a call with my team to talk about taking your music to the next level so you can get your music out on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and into real video games. All right, let's keep cooking with this next one, which is going to be Casino Night Zone. What? Oh my goodness. Oh, 4 minor. Bro. Oh my goodness. All right, methinks we have doth spotted a pattern. Good, sir. So here, we're starting off in what sounds like it's the key of C minor. And indeed we hear, what do we have? We have a 1 to 5, just like we had in the last piece. Just like we had, a couple pieces ago. So we're already seeing a harmonic motif, if you will, being reused here at the start in the intro section of all of these. That's tying it together, giving you a feeling of continuity throughout this game. Different keys, same chords in different keys. So for example, we have in the key of C minor, or we had in the key of D minor, or we had it in the key of A minor. Same chords, different keys to start all of these different pieces off. What an interesting connection. I wonder what it means. Maybe nothing other than the composer was like, let's have some 1s and some 5s. Now, after this 1 to 5, we get another super fake out. We're going to start calling this the sonic fake out because all of a sudden we find ourselves in the key of C major. The very next thing we hear is a 1 major. So just like before, it started off in minor and then ended in major right here. This was the Aquatic Ruin. We heard it ending in major, at least the A section. Here we have the intro. So to be clear, intro was minor. There's a color minor red for a moment, just so you can see it visually on your screens. Yo, I'm gonna make this big for you. So we've got minor up here. I've got too many lines now. Okay, minor up here, and then major right here. What do we have? We have minor up here, and then the first thing we hear right here, boom, straight into major. But what we can see, it doesn't matter when the flip, the shift from minor to major happens, you're still getting that play-off, that trade-off of trading between the parallel major and parallel minor, creating a really interesting, playful, and unexpected vibe, which reminds me of a couple of OSTs we heard where this was used as well, like and Echo. We heard that a whole bunch, the parallel shift. I think we also heard that in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So maybe there's a little bit more mystery going on. Let me know, because I've not played this game. Is there some type of mystery, perhaps, that we're attempting to solve in this Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game? Let me know in the chat. And it could just also be some cool stuff with the composing. And I'm reading way too far into it, and it wouldn't be the first time that I read way too far into something that there was nothing to read into. They said read between the lines, and it took me 5 years to figure out that there was nothing between the lines type thing, you know? All right, let's check out the next one. Hilltop Zone. love this. Also, that's just so much fun. 4-1. And another groovy tune here, hanging out in the key of C minor. And we have this like, and then the B section was like flat 7 to 4 in first inversion to 1. That type of a deal going on there. Super awesome stuff. Super cool. Hilltop Zone. I see you. I hear you. And let's check out Mystic Cave Zone. By the way, if you have questions about the OST, pop them in the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. And you let me know what questions you have about the OST as we rock and roll through it. That's the advantage. We're actually live. Like, shout out to Marissa, Carissa, May, and Smarty Kid 1984. Shout out. We're live. So if you have questions, ask questions. All right, let's check out this next one. Mystic Cave Zone. Say that 5 times fast, and good luck to you. Oh! Circus music. Oh, goodness me. All right. I put it to you, people of the jury, good people of the jury, that Mystic Cave Zone is in fact circus music. Hear me out. Type a 2 in the chat if that's ringing any circus music bells, and then listen to this. Even the bass line. Wow. Also, shout out to Skiazzo in the chat. Incredible member of our Gamer Music Creator Guild. Go check out Skiazzo's music on everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Skiazzo. Shout out to Skiazzo. Skiazzo's amazing. Skiazzo creates this incredible retro style, chiptune, good vibes. All right. Now, so we have a bunch of people saying, yes, I hear it. And Skiazzo actually said the original idea of the song was a haunted circus. Madness Mountain, maybe. Can anyone give me some more connection on Madness Mountain? That is a really cool connection there. Thank you very much, Skiazzo. Because you can even hear it in the bass line. The bass line is going bum bum ba ba da ba dum bum bum bum. The bass line has that circus music in it. It's circus music from top to bottom. Or left to right. I'm not a directionist. All right, let's check out this next one. Oil Ocean Zone. All right, so Schiazzo, again, just dropping straight facts, is saying this was actually for a cut level called Sand Showers. That makes sense why this is cut for Sand Showers, because this is using the Desert Meme scale. Again, this is using the Desert Meme scale. It doesn't sound like an oil ocean. I mean, so oil ocean, yes, actually works if you think about like getting oil out of that. So I take that back. It wasn't for an ocean, but oil ocean makes sense. It's figurative language, and it's taking me a minute. So yeah, I'll get there. You say the thing, I'll understand it. I'll be there in a minute. So Phrygian major, this is the meme of desert music in many video games. And in fact, when we were listening through the Mario series, there was a moment, I think it was Super Mario 3D Land or Super Mario 3D World, where my mind was genuinely blown because one of the composers had actually created a piece of music that sounded desert-ish without using this scale. And I was like, oh my goodness. Landmark moment. So what is the desert meme scale? So we have a 1, we have a flat 2, we have a 3, a 4, a 5, a flat 6, and a flat 7. This right here is going to be your Phrygian major. And your Phrygian major is going to sound something along the lines of this. Slightly added to him, that's okay. There you go. That's your Phrygian major. Let's keep it rocking and rolling with this next one, Metropolis Zone. All right, so Metropolis Zone actually taking a little bit from the factory with the that little melody fragment right there we heard back in, it was the industrial zone or the factory zone or the machine zone, whatever it was. That. Now, what else do we hear? We hear a pedal. What is a pedal? We hear a C pedal. Bow, 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 bow. We hear a bunch of different chords changing over this repeated C note. That is called a pedal. When you have one note that repeats and then chords changing on top of it, that's going to be called a bass pedal. And then in the B section, we had that flat 7, 2, flat 7, 1. Really interesting movement there in the harmony here in Metropolis Zone. Let's check out Sky Chase Zone. A interesting chord progression here underpinning this Sky Chase Zone. What do we have? We're in the key of G major. We have a ba-ba-dee ba-ba-ba-ba, just 4 to 1. Just 4 to 1. Repeats one more time. And then it goes to the B section. The B section, we have 4 to 1 over 3 to a, I'm gonna call it a 2 minor 7 to a 1. Beautiful stuff. And just notice the difference in feeling, say, between this Sky Chase and like our 1s to 5s over here, our 1s to 5s over here, are, you know, it's such a different vibe compared to everything else we've heard in this OST, and a very different chord progression than everything else we've heard in this OST, which, by the way, lines up. Now, here's the thing. You can have the same chord progression and have different vibes. For example, we could keep that same 1 to 5. So we have... This is still 1 to 5. We have... Very different, or... All of those are 1 to 5s to sound radically different, so it's not necessarily always about having the different chords. It can also be about the style, the rhythm, the voicing, so many different things that can go into getting a different sound out of the same chords. But here, it's just such a radical departure from everything else we've heard in the OST. It creates a tremendous amount of contrast just at the level of the chords alone. Let's keep on rocking and rolling to Wing Fortress Zone. Ha! So different. All right, I gotta ask, is there gameplay going on here, or is this like a cutscene? Tell me, because I gotta know. Because to me, this sounds like a cutscene. This sounds like someone walking into a castle. This doesn't sound like someone beating a castle or a fortress. But I could be totally wrong and just not reading the room right, which, by the way, wouldn't be the first time. Type a 2 in the chat if you've ever read a room wrong. I know I'm not alone. Yeah. Really interesting piece of music. It sounds like a march. It sounds like... This is gameplay? Wow. Very different. Very, very different than everything else we've heard in this OST. I mean, like, radically different. This almost sounds like, you know, after you beat the Pokemon League. That's the kind of vibes. This is like the end of a Mario game type of vibes. Like, really. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. Ba, 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 ba. It's got that kind of vibe to it, right? Wow. Very, very different. Very, very different. All right, let's keep it going with Death Egg Zone. This is genius. All right, it's looping now. Let's talk about why this is genius. This takes a beautiful principle that we've heard, by the way, in other games, but maybe this is the first one to do it. Who knows? I'd actually be interested to know the first game that did this, and I'm going to explain the idea to you, and then we'll break it down. So the idea is this. You have a seemingly innocent melody on top in a major key. Something that sounds like a lullaby. It could pass for a piece of kids' music. In this case, we have the key of A major. What is that melody, you ask? Well, it sounds something, not exactly, but something like this. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the idea. It's that thing. It's like an innocent melody. But then underneath it is pure, unadulterated chaos. That has nothing to do with the sweet innocence of what's happening above it. So we have this. I'm gonna let's go full screen on this. The sweet innocence. The sweet innocence is blue. Okay, here's the sweet innocence. Okay, and then underneath it is just that's what you just listened to. Listen to it. And so that's how you get that feeling. It's you get this innocent melody up here and then just absolute insanity underneath it. Absolute insanity. Beautiful. All right, let's keep it going. Interesting. All right, so let's just talk about this first part of this piece of music. It's like... It starts off like a Stairway to Heaven. We got and literally by the way, in the same key as Stairway to Heaven, we've got A minor over G sharp, A minor over G natural, to, you could call it an A minor over F sharp, or you could think about it as being the D. And then we have the flat 6, the F major 7. Here's the only difference here. It does actually go to the 5. Wow. What an incredible chord progression here in Death, Egg, Robot. Let's keep it going to special stage. Now this groove all based around the key of E7. You know, key of E7, sure enough. Yeah, I'm gonna call it the key of E7. E dominant, whatever you wanna call it. You can call it A major. You can call it E major, but it's not really an E major. It's a 1-7 that the whole piece is built around. And then even though bump 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 the guess what scale that's using? The pentatonic scale. Same pentatonic scale before, except starting on a different note. Well, it's not literally the same key, but it's starting on an E. And then we have an F sharp. Then we have a G sharp. Then we have a B. And then we have a C sharp. So it was all the same notes as a C minor pentatonic scale, but it's starting on an E, so we get an E major pentatonic scale. Let's keep it cooking with supersonic. Well, awesome piece of music here. Let's talk about just the first A section here in the key of G major. Now, in the key of G major, we've got ourselves a 1 to a 4 to a 1 to a flat 7. This sets us up perfectly, by the way, for a Mixolydian or major plus minor pentatonic shift around for scale to use over this chord progression. Really cool stuff. Now, if you want to write your own music, check out the free video game music composer starter pack. It's in the description of this video. It's also in the pinned comments. Let's keep going with Invincibility. So in Invincibility, we hear much like the main theme, we're back in the key of A major. And again, much like the main theme, we've got a 1 to a flat 7. Yeah, that tracks. And indeed, if I recall correctly, we also heard this in the same exact key in Sonic 1. That would be the A major to the G. The A major to the G, to the G. Let's check out options. So options, we hear one chord progression the whole way through. C to A flat to B flat. It's gonna be the 1 major to the flat 6 to the flat 7. Now, in terms of the melody, so we hear, I'm paraphrasing here, but we hear it starts off C major, goes to the E, 4, and then right there, that's the flat 7. Let's listen to the melody one more time. And then right here, it's going to the E flat, so it's actually turning minor. That's one of the things about when you have it, and it doesn't have to be this way. But like, for example, right here, we have the C major from the key of C major. Then we have the A flat and the B flat from the key of C minor. And in both of these cases, this means we can actually borrow both melody notes from C major and melody notes from C minor. And sure enough, the melody notes that land over here, both the B flat, if I recall it correctly, and as we just heard here, the E flat as well, are from the key of C minor. Whereas over here, we had the E, which is from the key of C major. We call that mode mixture. You're mixing two different scales together. You say, well, why don't you just call it scale mixture? Yeah, I agree. Would have been simpler, but someone before me decided to call it mode mixture, and here we are, stuck with the term mode mixture. So I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's check out this next one. Okay. And I'm to finish writing this down. Then we go to, well, technically I'd say here, we're kind of like we're in the key of F major for a moment here. All right, so like 1 to flat 7, and that repeats. And then after the flat 7, it goes to the 6 minor, aka the 2, and that's our pivot chord, which is also known as, I'll put it here, help. Okay, 2 minor of C, and then we have the 5. So we got a 2-5 there. And that's going to be of C. That's going to bring us back around to C. So in the key of C major, what I'm hearing is we have a 1, and this is reggae style, which is it's like 2 players, it's all love. Yeah. And then in the B section, it goes to the F, to the flat 7 of F, back to F, to the flat 7 of F, to the flat 7 of F. Now here it goes to the 2 of C and the 6 of F. This is called a pivot chord, and this we could call this a pivot chord modulation. It's where you are going to change between 2 keys that share the same chords. In this case, it's a D minor. D minor is the 6 of F major, and it is the 2 of C minor. So we're using this to pivot out of this to go to the 5 of C, and then we're back into the key of C. And you could say, well, we didn't really go to the key of F here. We tonicized the key of F. Sure, fine, whatever. Point is, we're in the key of F for a minute. Call it whatever you want. All right, next up we have Mystic Cave Zone 2-player. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, let's talk about one part of this piece of music, which is the ostinato bass. The ostinato bass. So you say it like it's from the city Austin, and then auto like automatic, but it's spelled ostinato. Ostinato. Ostinato means it repeats so much you could describe it as being stubborn. And sure enough, we hear this bass line. Over and over again throughout the entire piece, repeating so much you might describe it as being stubborn. Let's check out this next one. It's called Casino Night Zone. Okay, so we have here Casino Night Zone, which Schiazzo, by the way, who seems to be our resident Sonic 2 scholar for today's stream, says this was actually originally intended for the Oil Ocean. Incredible. Schiazzo, please do not hold back. Keep the info coming. And if you're not spending half your time watching what's going on in the chat, you're kind of missing the whole point of the format of these streams, because like literally half the fun's in the chat. And if you're watching this on demand right after it goes on demand, you're going, where is the chat? Just wait like a couple hours. YouTube takes its time to process these things. I have no control over how fast it goes. YouTube does it. Super cool stuff. Let's keep it going to this next one, which is going to be called Game Results. This is so good, and it's got almost this Yoshi-like... Forgive me. I'm going to reference different game franchises between each other as I have been doing. I'm not just going to stick with a franchise here. This has Yoshi-like percussion vibes right here. Check this out. It literally sounds like a metronome. I can't do it justice because it's a synthesizer sound. I'm not going to be able to replicate it with my mouth that well. But oh my goodness. Da, 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 da. Type an M in the chat if you can hear that metronome-like sound. Just cooking in the back there. It's so much fun. And it does change pitch. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's check out Hidden Place Zone, which was unused, before we listen to our ending and our staff credits. Here we go. Just to talk us through the A section here, we're in the key of D minor, and this is the first time we've heard like a true sort of Dorian sound, I believe, in this Sonic franchise. So we've got this D minor. We got the 1 to the major 4, back to the 1 to the 4 to the flat 3, back to the 1. Really, really wild. One of the wild things about this too, it's like it's so unlike any other Sonic track we've heard so far through Sonic 1 and 2. Radically wild, but turns out, if you're looking at the chat, spoilers, chat, not track. If you're looking at the chat, spoilers, this track was used again. Let's check out Ending. Oh my goodness. Wow. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I actually love playing along with that too. Take it back to the top. We have C major to A flat, flat 6. Back to a 1, C major, flat 6, flat 7. Now to 6. To 5 of 5. To 5 sus 4. Now we're in the key of A minor. 1. Flat 2 major 7. Flat 6, flat 7, 1, flat 7, and then it goes somewhere totally different. Let's check out staff credits. Ah, it's a medley. What a groove. Two players, beach theme. Wow, what an incredible OST and such a shift away from the sound of Sonic 1 while still sounding connected. What did we hear? We heard some incredible things with 1s and 5s to start us off earlier on in the OST that was then let go for new sounds. We heard a bunch of unused tracks for unused levels come back for 2-player versions of the same thing that was going on, and we heard some innocent blue melodies above some ridiculous chaos. What an incredible soundtrack. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And if you want to check out the next thing, which is going to be Sonic and Knuckles, that's going to be over here. So click over here to see Sonic and Knuckles, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.